Kids Playground.
Hooray!
This is the Deron Harris Podcast. Here's your host, Deron Harris.
Hey everybody, what's up? Welcome back to the show. Thank you for joining me this week. I do appreciate you. I'm Deron. This is my podcast. How you feeling? Hopefully everybody is doing all right mentally. I'm doing better than I was, as my wife and I, we are continuing to get prepared for whatever fallout that may come our way as a result of the election results. Last week, I did a podcast on how conservatives got duped into doing away with DEI and the way that it happened. And today, I'm going to be talking about the same thing, but about the education system. He signed an executive order expanding educational freedom and opportunities for families is what it was called. That was the order. Expanding educational freedom and opportunities for families. And I'm not making this shit up. This is on whitehouse.gov. You can go look this up if you guys want to read along. But I read through it and I kind of broke down the deceitful parts, or the parts that were unsavory, as I like to say. But first, before I get into that, real quick, fast, and like I do every week, I want to check everybody's mental health meter. How you feeling? You all right? I know there's a lot going on. I know you are probably feeling a little overwhelmed or under the gun, like the walls are closing in on you. I was feeling like that myself, and I can't lie, I still kind of feel like that. Like we are running on borrowed time. Like we are waiting for the other shoe to drop. That's a lot of that going around. And I want to let everybody know that there is absolutely help out there. There's totally somebody out there that can help you get through whatever it is that you might be struggling with. And I encourage you to not take matters into your own hands, but to, in fact, call somebody and try and, get to the bottom of what's making you feel the way that you're feeling. I did that, and I am the biggest advocate in the world for therapy. And if you have not tried, let me be the first to tell you that it is worth every single penny that you might spend on it. And it completely changed my life, and it completely helped me. And I'm still in therapy, and I still, every day I struggle and I wrestle with things, as I know many people do. And now that things are going the way that they're going, a lot of people are starting to struggle even more. And as we get further into this, there's going to be even more of that mental strain on our population here in the country. So today I'm going to explain to you, or attempt to explain to everybody, why this next piece of information I have is something to be concerned about, and also how they got y'all, how they got conservatives. That's really what this is about. This is really what this is about. Is me basically pointing out how conservatives were duped, how they were lied to, how they were made to believe that so many of these things that are going on were the wrong move for the country. But at the same time, I'm here to expose all of those people out there that voted anyway. They knew that these things were going to happen. They knew that there would be rough times ahead, even for them. But they still voted. They still voted for this person. The reason they voted for this person is because he was going to further disparage black and brown and immigrant communities. Simple as that. And there was no other reasoning behind it. Some people, they did vote for, maybe he can lower groceries. Yeah, but that's not why some of these people voted, especially the ones that I ride by here where I live at. that have this rebel flag or this Confederate flag hoisted high. Sometimes I've seen it on top of the Confederate flag first, and then the Trump flag, and then the American flag on somebody's pole I saw, which I thought was special. Those people voted on purpose. They voted even though they lived, poverty. They also live paycheck to paycheck. Their kids go to public school also. They still voted. But some of them don't. Some of them don't know why they voted this way. Some of them thought they were voting for something different, as we are seeing, people are starting to materialize, saying that this is not at all what they voted for. So today I'm breaking down the executive order that is expanding educational freedom, opportunities for families. That is expanding educational freedom and opportunities for families. Okay? This order is framed as like an effort to, I guess, empower parents. But actually, it's like this really, really wool over your eyes, deceitful, like attempt to dismantle public education. And really what that does is it disproportionately harms black and brown communities. It really does. And what actually happens behind that, though, while it's doing that, it enriches private interests. No kidding. It really does cut the other way. When they disparage us, it benefits them. And you know who I'm talking about when I say them. I'm talking about all these people who voted and stood behind and kept their mouth shut while all this shit was going on. Those people, the people who want to uphold the standard of white supremacy in our country, those people, the people who want to make sure that black and brown children are as uneducated or have the least amount of access to education as they can have. Those people. So what did they do? They framed it. They framed public schools as, and this is the phrase, these are the words, and this is why language is very important. It is subliminal and it is manipulative at the same time, and we have to learn how to seek it out, spot it, and understand what it is doing, what it is actually trying to do. It's trying to make you believe that what you think is not right. So framing public schools as quote unquote government run makes people think differently about public schools. Government run K through 12 school. How does that sound? The phrase, I'm talking about the phrase, government run K through 12 public school. What does that sound like to you? It's used deliberately. Okay? And it's used to create a negative connotation, like public schools are like these like jail-like oppressive institutions rather than like these pillars of democracy. Public schools are community run, so that you know, okay? Publicly funded institutions that serve all children, okay? Just so you know. And it doesn't matter about the child's background, just so you know. Now, I'm going to tell you why this is harmful. All right? This is harmful because it pushes like this anti-public institution narrative that leads to like funding shortages and staff shortages, and they're going to cut all kinds of things. You don't get books and shit like that. Like the students, they continuously go to school and find the conditions of their school worsening. And this happens mainly and especially in underprivileged black and minority communities. That's harmful. The second thing that's the problem, another problem, is they are weaponizing standardized. Always have a problem saying standardized test scores, and they do this to justify the privatization of schools. And I'm going to tell you why right now that this again is deceitful. This order is. What it does is it highlights everybody's poor. I'm paraphrasing here. It's highlighting everybody's poor skills, the poor reading and the math skills, and what they do is they create this national crisis that justifies defunding public schools because they're not working anyway. That's what they want you to believe, but they ignore how decades of underfunding and systemic inequality contribute to these outcomes. They don't tell you that. They don't tell you that it's them who have created this. They've created this, but they've created it in order to make you feel, or conservatives feel, like, oh my God, this is really a problem. We have to do something about that. But see, that's harmful because rather than like trying to get better teachers or some extra resources or try to strengthen like infrastructure or anything like that, get just take a little bit of extra money and put into these schools. They would rather funnel this money into like all these private entities that will ultimately exclude marginalized students and further deepen educational inequality. That's what's happening. And it's a guise. It is the total wool pulled over your eyes, and people just don't think they got duped. They just don't. They'll sit up here and defend this shit until they're blue in the face. They just don't realize. They don't. It's not, and I still feel strongly about this. Not that they didn't realize, is that they knew. They just knew that it would disparage people more. They didn't care. Because a lot of people think like this: oh, we're fine. We got our family's set. We got money in the bank. We have 2.5 kids. We have a Prius and a minivan. We drive a Camry. We live in the suburbs. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm talking about, right? These people don't care about what happens in other communities. These people don't care about what happens in these minority, these poor communities. They don't care. They have this idea of what they're like formed in their head that has been put there by the politicians that they follow, that continuously demonize these communities. These people don't know us. They don't know you. But they have judged you already. They've judged you already based on where you're from and what you look like because of what the media and their political party or their political affiliates or their political representatives have painted these places. But they don't go on to tell you that the reason these places are this way is because they themselves voted to defund this. They voted to keep these children in this relegated space. They voted for that. They don't want you to put their name next to that action. That's why they cover it up. That's why it's minutia. That's why it's never anything straight. They never shoot straight. They claim to shoot straight from the hip, but they do anything but. And newsflash for you guys: if you think that there are poor test scores in urban communities, also, guess what? These rural communities where all these little farmer children live at, they got poor test scores also. And guess what? They use public school also. And guess what? They're going to be affected just like these students in the inner city. They didn't tell you that. And you voted anyway because you voted for white supremacy. But you didn't vote to have your child less educated, did you? Nope. So for all you that voted for white supremacy that are in this situation, you deserve it. And number 2, fuck you. And number 3, you about to fucking find out. You done fucked around. Now you about to find out. Don't come crying. And, I see so many, oh, Mr. Trump, can we work something? He ain't trying to work shit out. He worked it out already. Do you understand? You motherfuckers are cut off. Do you get that? You motherfuckers are done. He doesn't need you anymore. He might need you again in 4 years if he tries to run for president for a third term, which I don't think he'll be reelected. And if he is, the world is just fucking stupid. But, yeah, you're about to fucking find out that you are, like I said, you're down here with the rest of us. All right. Now, all of a sudden, it's no longer about race and it's more about class. All right. Everybody out here living paycheck to paycheck like most of us are about to experience, what they voted for. Another thing they did is they, what they've done, and this is another way they got you. They pushed school choice as a solution, but it's really not a solution. School choice is not a solution, just for those who. Now, I'm going to tell you why this is deceitful, all right? Educational choice, all right? The phrase educational choice. Now, we're getting lessons here in framing, okay? Educational choice. That sounds empowering, doesn't it? Doesn't it? It sounds like you got all the power in the world to make the decision that you need to for your child. But actually, what it does is it drains resources from public schools. That's what it does. And it leaves the most vulnerable students, black and brown and disabled and low income students. Yeah. Trapped in underfunded districts. Trapped here. Like I'm talking about, all these people out here that are the salt of the earth, and we love Donald Trump, and we voted for our president, and he's going to make sure that we're all safe. Nope, you too. You too. Now, why is this harmful? Why? Why is this harmful? Now, this is harmful, and this is because private schools are not required to serve all students and can legally discriminate in admission, furthering segregation and inequality. That's why school choice is not a solution for everyone. Now, some of these children, I will say, some of these children out here on these farms, they're going to be able to walk into some of these school choice, and thank goodness they let my child in school. But they're not going to let my child in school. And they're not going to let Jose's child in school either. They're going to force Jose's child and my child to go over here to this public school where they're going to further defund this school. Before you know it, the books are going to be out of date. Before you know it, their test scores are going to fall even further behind. And before you know it, we're going to have entire swaths, entire generations of uneducated black and brown children, putting us further behind our white counterparts. Do you follow what I'm saying? And all you brown folks out there that, immigrants for Trump and all that stuff, you guys voted for this. All right? You guys vote blacks, you niggas for Trump. I'm talking to you niggas too. Y'all voted for this. You voted for this. So it's about to be on some find out. Okay. The next thing is why they're doing this. Why are they doing this? It's the real intent behind it is competition. Competition. The order claims that competition between schools leads to improvement. That is bullshit, okay? That's the reality of it. Public schools can't compete where they're systemically defunded. Where they're systematically defunded while private institutions get government subsidies. That's bullshit. It is complete and total bullshit. Competition between schools leads to improvement? Who the fuck thought that shit up? But more importantly, who the fuck fell for it? Who fell for it? Who? Raise your hand. Oh, you don't have to. Your hand's already raised. And now you're desperately trying to put that shit down, aren't you? Because your kids, your family is going to be impacted. Now, why is this harmful? Well, quite simple. These people are all businessmen, right? A bunch of these people are education is not it shouldn't be treated like a fucking business. All right? But this policy right here, it ensures that only the wealthy and predominantly white families benefit from high quality education. That's exactly what this did. Okay? Now, it is. People say, oh, everything isn't about race, but it absolutely is and has been. And I keep saying it. Why the fuck you think college ain't free? Huh? Why you think healthcare ain't free? Huh? And the bullshit is they created this bullshit for themselves. They created it by bringing us over here in the fucking first place. You thought, because they thought that we was always going to be enslaved. But no, but now we're not enslaved. And all those benefits that they never wanted us to get are available to us. But now their sole task is now to keep us from it. How do you keep them from it? Legally, with a smile on your face and a suit on. Because we can't wear, white hoods and burn crosses in front yards anymore. We have to do it a different way. I know. Let's run for office. And that's what happened. They ran for office, and they continued to have that every time they step in that room and they close that fucking door. They put those white sheets on, and they get to work. They get to work on dismantling black and brown families, black and brown lives, black and brown institutions, black and brown neighborhoods. They get to work on it, man. And it is a full-time job for their ass. So, moving right along, the fifth thing that's the issue is that's really that they've framed is that it's a myth that parents want this, that all these parents say, yeah, this is what we want. All right? Now, why this is deceitful is like the language that they use, okay? The language that they use assumes that all parents want school privatization. That's what they say. Parents want this. In reality, most parents just want like well-funded schools that aren't getting fucking shot up, that have a good mix of people that are including and respectful to all children. That's what most parents really want at the end of the day. That doesn't need to be private. It just needs to be a good school. We just need these schools to be funded like you motherfuckers fund these other schools. Simple as that. Now, why is this harmful? Why is this harmful? Now, it's harmful because they falsely present privatization as the will of the people. Like a lot of these policymakers manipulate the public into accepting their agenda, and disproportionately that benefits the wealthy. It doesn't benefit these people. It doesn't benefit the people that they're pandering to. It benefits wealthy people. Oh, yes, cut the funding to the school that your child goes to give us more money for our children in our schools. Oh, yeah. We'll make some little waivers so your children, some of your children can come over here to these schools also. But we need that money from these public institutions when they really don't need it. They don't need that money. They want to take it. They want to take that money away. That's all they want. They want to take that money away from us. And that's where we have to get smart. We got to get smart, especially black people. I'm talking to black people now. Now, I just did some content. We put $1.7 trillion, not billion, trillion dollars into the economy. There's a lot of things going on with, DEI and these other programs, and these people canceling these programs. There's a lot of stuff going on with that right now, but we don't realize that we put $1.7 trillion into the fucking economy. Why? Because we are the biggest consumers, and we don't equate that if we put our collective resources together, that we could build our own society that could match, if not exceed, their society tenfold. We don't get that. They do. They do. And that's why they keep sending fake hair over here, fake synthetic hair over here for you motherfuckers. That's why they want you to put all these glue all these fake diamonds in your mouth and your teeth. That's why they want you to continue to do that. Because that right there is what we equate to value. That's what we equate to success. If I could put a big fat gold or diamond chain around my neck and ice my grill out, or if I could go to, Brazil and get the BBL without having, then what the fuck else do I need? Yeah, I'll tell you what you need. You need your fucking people is what you need. You need a fucking backbone is what you need. You need a backbone to stand up and recognize. You need a brain to stand up. You need some fucking eyes is what the fuck you need. You need a conscience. I could go on for so many things that we need. What we really need, though, is clarity. And what we really need is to be done with it, over it, tired of it, fed up with it. So much so that we turn back into each other and say, hey, brother, what can we do, man? We've been out here shooting each other in the streets for fucking decades. What can we do now? What can we do now to put this shit to bed? I'm going to take a quick, fast break, and when I come back, I'm going to break down some more of their deceitful bullshit. I'm Darren Harris. This is my podcast. I'll be right back.
The podcast playground. Hooray!
What's up, y'all? Guess who's back? It's me. Thanks for staying or not switching off. I don't know how this fucking shit works. Anyway, hey, thanks for sticking with me. Today, I have been talking about, and I will continue to talk about all these executive orders that we are all of a sudden seeing a barrage. People are like, oh, what the fuck is this? What happened here? What's going on with that? Well, some of these things, I wanted to really know for myself. And as I read through them, I really started kind of just picking them apart, man. I just picked them apart and just started reading between the lines of what this shit really means. I wrote it down, and here we are today talking about this shit that they're about to inflict on the entire country. And you too, conservatives, you too, you're about to eat this too. You're about to eat this too. This piece of humble pie is about to be all over your face because you're about to eat this too. Now, some of your children, you're going to be all right, in this certain tax bracket. But a lot of your children that aren't in this tax bracket, they're going to be right the fuck down here with us. And then you're going to see that it wasn't about you the entire time. It was only ever about them. It was only ever about the elitists. It was only ever about giving them more of an upper hand on us. I mean, like I said last podcast, y'all, conservatives, y'all got bent the fuck over. You got your ass spread wide open, bent over, spread wide the fuck open, and railed the fuck out. You really did. And you're about to start feeling it. You're about to start feeling shit. Asshole fight about to start bleeding all over the fucking place behind this shit right here. You did it to yourself. You did it. You didn't do it to you. This right here, you did to your fucking kids. All right? By wanting your kids to have something more than some other kids. By wanting your kids to feel special. More special than other kids. But a lot of you about to find out how unspecial, how not special you are. Just like us. Like they keep you, we ain't special. Oh, yeah, okay. You motherfuckers either. You motherfuckers either. To your own people, too. To your own folks. To your own folks. Your own folks about to show you that you ain't shit. You know what I'm saying? The rich ones, though. The rich ones about to show the poor ones. And I'm going to stand the fuck back and watch it happen. You know what I'm saying? I mean, black people used to struggling. I mean, we've been struggling since the beginning. White people, oh, we've been struggling. No. You ain't struggled like us. Stop claiming that you struggle. Oh, my family came up. Yeah. Cause shut the fuck up. I don't give a fuck about none of that shit. I don't give a fuck about none of you motherfuckers have not struggled. You about to start struggling. Because it's not a race thing. It is. It really is. It is. But it ain't at the same time. It's two things. It's a race thing and a class thing. And if you don't fall in this certain class, you might as well be black. Your name might as well be Pablo. For real. I'm not even fucking kidding. Because you think you're going to get special shit? Nah. You think motherfuckers are going to give you special shit? Nah. You're going to be down here with the rest of us. Toiling around, groveling, wondering why you voted for this shit. Wondering how you ended up here. No. You ended up here because you voted. And you waved your flag. For a fucking crew of billionaires who don't give a fuck about you. So that you can scroll on their social media platforms or drive their car. You guys are fucking idiots. You really are. You're idiots. And I'll keep saying it. I'm gonna keep saying it. And I know there's some conservatives that I work with on my podcast platform, but I'm gonna keep telling you. You thought you was voting for one thing. Now you was either voting for one. You thought you was voting for the economy, which I'm gonna bust your ass on here right now, based on I'm about to or you voted for white supremacy, which again I'm gonna bust your ass right here. And I don't care who it is. I don't care what platform it's on. I don't care what co-worker it is. I don't care. I'm gonna bust your ass right here on my podcast because you voted for some fucking bullshit. Either you voted to keep some people disparaged or you tried to vote for the fucking economy. What you seeing? That's not what the fuck. The motherfucker told you he didn't have a plan. And you voted anyway. That's some dumb shit. And you voted anyway. He said, oh, we kind of have a plan. And you voted anyway for kind of a plan. No, the only plan he ever had was to disparage black and brown people. Because one thing I want to know, with all this mass deportation shit going on, where are all the fucking European fucking illegals, as they want to call them? Because I don't think anybody's illegal. I'll say undocumented. But in their words, where are all the European illegals? I'm going to tell you what, there are none. Why? Because they're giving those people the pass. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't doubt that they were giving them the fast track to being able to stay here. Because what it does is it increases their numbers, and like the dude said in this interview I watched, it slows the disposition of whites in America. It adds more. Come on over here. Come on over here. And all you've heard about is motherfuckers deporting Latins. You know what I'm saying? My wife is Latin, but my wife is from Puerto Rico. Now they even grabbing up Puerto Ricans because these motherfuckers don't know. Because they don't know. It's race. They're pushing them out because, well, for one, they fucking work harder than they do. And for two, they're just brown people. How dare they be here on some land that we stole from them? You see the hypocrisy? You see the bullshit? These people don't make any money. They're low-income families. A lot of low-income families out here. And some military families, they make just a regular. Now, I'm going to tell you why this is a problem, because this order also, it is targeting low-income and military families as a Trojan horse. Okay? It's attacking these families. It's hey, let us in. Hey, you need us. You need us. We don't fucking need you, and you need to run before I burn this fucking horse the fuck out of here. I mean, for real, if you guys were smart, you would have burnt this fucking horse as it rode in here trying to tell you what it was going to do for you. Now, this order is deceitful. Now, why this order is deceitful? Because What it does is it exploits like vulnerable groups. It like a lot of vulnerable groups, and it pretends to offer them more options when in reality it kind of directs their funds towards private schools that really may not accept their children or give them adequate education. Now, why this is harmful is because military and low-income families will eventually and ultimately be left with fewer public school resources, and it's going to make it hard for them to compete equally or get a quality education because they don't have any access. It's going to be harder for them to access these resources. And they knew that. They knew it. And so did some of the people who voted. But a lot of these people voted blindly because they didn't think. They thought because they supported him that they were going to be immune from this. And you're a dumbass. You're a dumbass because you're not immune. You're not immune. You're not immune. Let me say it one more time for my producer. You're not immune, because he told me I repeat things a lot, but I do it on purpose. I repeat things so you can fucking take it with you. So you can remember what the fuck I just said. And you can remember. And you can remember all you want to, conservatives. I need you to remember. And I'll rub it in your fucking face every time I get the chance that you fucked this up. That y'all fucked this up. Maybe this is what you wanted. Maybe you did want a dictator. I don't know. Maybe you did want an oligarchy. What? Maybe you did want these things. But it doesn't really seem like you did. Doesn't really seem like you really knew what you were. It seemed like a lot of people watched a lot of movies and thought it was going to be like the movies. And the shit ain't like the movies, is it? No, because it's really happening. You can't just turn the channel. You can't just get up and walk out of the theater. This shit is going to go down whether you like it or not, and you motherfuckers helped it along. Now, see, another thing that they do, though, to further this agenda is they use faith-based schools. And what they use these schools for is to kind of get around anti-discrimination laws. And that's the truth. And this is why this is deceitful. Like a lot of these religious institutions, a lot of these private schools, and they get a lot of public funding. And legally, they can discriminate based on religion, based on sexual orientation, based on disability, and in some cases they can even discriminate against race, against races. And this is harmful because really black, LGBTQ plus, disabled students, and a few other people are gonna face a lot more barriers to education. They just are, and the taxpayer money is going to go and fund institutions that isn't going to serve them. And that's read between the lines, folks. You got to learn to fucking understand what the fuck they're doing. And the way they make it sound. Every time he stood up on stage and he said these things, I was just like, there it is again. There it is again. There it is again. The radical left. That is framing, y'all. DEI is illegal. No, it's not. It never was. But he made everybody believe that it was because of the way that it was framed. You motherfuckers got. Simple as that. You got. He made it sound so delicious, so yummy, so incredible, so amazing. And already it's starting to taste sour as shit, huh? They're undermining school funding. That's another one. Undermining public school funding. Why this is deceitful. Now, this order doesn't really acknowledge that diverting funds to private schools and charter schools directly weakens public schools. They don't say that, but it does. And a friend of mine actually asked me, well, how does this affect, how do these things? This is how it does. Now, this is why this is harmful. Now, underfunded schools means what? Fewer teachers, like shitty books, like, bullshit educational outcomes for students, all kind of shit. But where do you think this is going to hit most? Right where they wanted to hit, in predominantly black and brown districts. That's where it's going to hit at. They're trying to make us, they're trying to dumb, really what they're doing is they're trying to dumb us down. And I'm going to tell you why. Because they're mad. I'm going to tell you what they're mad at, black ladies. They're mad that black women are the most, black American women are the most educated diaspora in this country. Black women are the smartest things here. Black women. Black women. Let me say that again for all you racists in the back. Black women are smarter than you. They really are. You know how smart they were? You know how smart black women are? 95% of them. 95% of black women voted against this bullshit. That's how smart they are. I mean, smarter than black men, you know what I mean? 28% of black men voted for this motherfucker. Only 5% of black, which was the lowest margin of any ethnic group, anybody. Black women. And they're mad at that. Now, there is a lot of hypocrisy in what they talk about. And this is another issue, hypocrisy. They claim to support education, right? Then why defund it? Right? Doesn't it make the most sense of the world if you claim to support education, especially for all Americans, right? Doesn't that make sense? For all Americans? But that's the problem. He's not in it for all Americans. He's in it for a select few of white Americans. That's what he's in it for. Now, these same politicians that are pushing this order have long voted against increasing public school funding and advocating for tax cuts for the wealthy on the way. Same fucking politicians, same people who claim to care about your children cut the funding. And at the same time, while we cut the funding to your kids, how about we give our rich buddies some tax breaks? Can we do that? It's stupid. Now, why this is harmful is because it's strangling public education. It's choking the life out of it, and it's redirecting the funds and they're giving them to private institutions that aren't regulated. And it's not fair. But they don't care that it's not fair. But all these people you follow, these leaders, they ensure that education remains a privilege rather than a right. Education is a right, folks. Education should be a right. They tried to make it so we could never learn anything here. It was against the law to teach black people anything. And we crossed a lot of those barriers. We fought for a lot of those things. And today, this very day, we are watching this man push back everything that we have accomplished in this country. Right when we get to the top, they kick the ladder from underneath the bottom of us. And we fall. Not only fall, we fall and hurt ourselves when we hit the ground. They're trying to make us hurt ourselves. And we have to stop that. Conservatives were lied to. They just were. They lied to you guys. But it doesn't shock me because the motherfucker is a liar. Okay? Simple as that. And I don't get it. I mean, I just don't get the fucking allure. The motherfucker is a solid liar. But I don't, they lie. Well, they lied to you about parental rights is what they lied to you about. Now, why this is deceitful, the policy itself is sold as empowering parents. That's what you're going to be in control. But the reality is that it limits parents' choices by making quality public education less accessible to children, okay? And it's harmful because families who rely on public schools, including conservative rural voters, will suffer the most from these policies. All right? You're going to suffer, and you voted for the suffering. And it's too late, y'all. We got 4 years of this bullshit. You know what I'm saying? It's 4 years. What else you gonna do? You can't do shit except for fucking wait. Except for wait it the fuck out. There's some things we could do, but it ain't gonna be really impactful when this motherfucker got the whole deck stacked. You guys don't realize that anything this motherfucker says is gonna go. We have to understand. We have to learn that we have been not we, because I didn't. Y'all. That you got played, okay? They fucking straight up Xboxed your motherfucking ass. I should call you motherfuckers PS5 because you got played. And you still don't fucking get it. Still up here in the honeymoon phase on some celebration mode. Good. Keep celebrating. Keep that same energy. Keep that same motherfucking energy when this shit goes down the fucking drain. You hear me? Keep that same energy. That's exactly what I want y'all to do. I'm not in love with the Democrats either, just so you know. All right? They're full of shit too. I'm not in love with them motherfuckers either. But conservatives, y'all really just are on some other level with the ignorance, man. Y'all just on some otherworldly ignorance. Like, where the fuck did y'all get that shit from? Just willfully ignorant to some things. And then I figured out that it wasn't willful ignorance, it was bias. So, anyway, to continue on, another thing it does is it gives a false promise of better outcomes for if you get better educational outcomes if we do this. And why this is deceitful is because they've done tons of research, and it does not show that privatization of any school improves any kind of education overall. And it only benefits select groups while harming public schools. That's the only thing that it's ever shown. And really what it boils down, I don't give a fuck what that is. It comes down, and I'm going to say this because my dad is a teacher, all right? There was a movie called Lean On Me about Joe Clark. My dad taught at that high school, Eastside High School in Patterson, New Jersey. He taught there for 38 years or something like that. My dad was an excellent teacher. My dad was loved all over the entire community. He is still loved. If he goes out in public, he is a local celebrity all over. They love my dad. My dad was an excellent teacher because he was dedicated to his kids. All right? He wanted to make sure. And just so you know, Eastside High School is a predominantly black and Latin high school in Patterson, New Jersey. And there's another predominantly black and Latin high school called Kennedy on the other side of Patterson, New Jersey. And shout out to them also. Even though they are rivals, shout out to Kennedy High School also. And shout out to the teachers at Patterson and at Kennedy for providing quality education is the best you could, with the resources that you were given. You know what I'm saying? For the children of that community. Thank you, because I'm a product of that. My father was one of my teachers, and I went to public school. I'm a product of public school. And I know a lot of people who went to public school that are immensely successful. So there is no evidence that shows that your private school is better than this fucking public school. No evidence. Just because you motherfuckers wear a fucking uniform, that don't mean shit. You still got fucking stupid motherfuckers in here, just like they got stupid motherfuckers over here. Simple as that. Because at the end of the day, people are people. And I see why this is harmful is, like, poor communities, like communities with like the minority communities. Minority students are disproportionately affected. And what it does is it widens racial and economic achievement gaps. It widens that gap. It provides less education for some and more education for others. More education equals, listen, more opportunity. Hello? This does not strengthen America. It doesn't. This weakens America. This does not make America great. It makes it terrible. This weakens America this way. This order, it claims to provide and improve, well, not provide, it claims to improve competitiveness, all right, in the world. But how you going to fucking compete when the quality of education to your citizens is lacking? You know what I'm saying? And what that does, when your education is lacking, it harms America's workforce and our economy. Now, this is why it's harmful. Like, excuse me. An undereducated population, right, leads to lower economic productivity. That has been proven. It leads to more crime. That has been proven. And it leads to weaker global competitiveness. You don't have to be a fucking scientist to see that. Now, I'm going to focus in on one of those points. More crime. More crime. Has anybody noticed the prisons that they're building? Anybody notice that? Anybody put that correlation together? Anybody? Somebody? Maybe some of you have. I sure have. They're dumbing you down so that they can they're dumbing you down because they expect the crime rate to go up. They're giving police qualified immunity so that they can bust your fucking head open to put you in a cage. They're doing things to try and rile us up, doing things like, let's get rid of Black History Month. Fuck them. We're going to celebrate American history, and we're going to celebrate all Americans, regardless of race. This is America. America is great again. That's what some chick said. So no more Black History Month, y'all. Word. You know what? Again, great. Fuck Black History Month. This is all Black history. It's all Black history, and I'll tell it in his fucking face. Give a fuck what you try to erase. We ain't going fucking nowhere. And neither is our history. And you know what? Neither is yours. You can try to paint yourselves as the heroes and the righteous all you want. You were the aggressors. You were the evilest, just the most evil, vile people to the rest of the world. For no reason other than to conquest, to have some shit because you were jealous. And you couldn't stand right up and take it outright. You had to manipulate people. You had to lie and you had to deceive in order to get what you got. Because I'll tell you what, had you been honest with the fucking Indians, they would have sunk your fucking ass the minute you hit the fucking shore. If you had said that to the fucking Africans, I'm sure the same shit would have happened. And if I could go back and turn the hands of time and show all these African leaders what the future looked like and who was responsible for it, I think that if they could have saw that, I think the world would be a different place right now. They just disrespect indigenous communities. That's another one. Now, and the reason why is the order itself. It addresses the Bureau of Indian Education, or the BIE. Okay. But they don't want to improve them. They don't want to help them reach the particular standard because they want to siphon the funds to privatized alternatives. That's what they want to take what little funds they already have. And they want to, well, not they want to, they're going to. This is happening. And they're going to give it to the private schools. Now, this is harmful. This is harmful because it continues the historical pattern of ignoring the indigenous population that we have here and their educational needs. And at the same time, it's super disrespectful to them because it undermines the tribal sovereignty. They don't give a fuck about their laws and their tribes and the things that they've gone. They don't give a fuck about none of that. They will bulldoze right over you. They will drill in your fucking reservation if they find oil. They will move your ass to the side and they will not care about it. We have to start making these people care. And when I say we, I mean black people, Latin people, Indians, everyone who has been disparaged by them, even the white folks that have been disparaged by this system. Everyone. I'm talking about everybody. Now, this is just not a black and white thing. This is an everybody thing. This is an all of us thing. This is a humanity thing. Because what they're doing, straight up, y'all. Now tell me this is fucking wrong. And anybody who says that this is some Christian shit, that the Lord told them to fucking shut the fuck up. Shut your whole ass. Okay? Shut your whole ass before I stick my fucking foot in it. You're a fucking asshole. You're not a Christian. And I'm tired of motherfuckers sitting up here, blaming they bullshit on Jesus. Trying to make Jesus responsible for your bullshit. That's what y'all doing. That's the only thing y'all doing. Y'all trying to make Jesus responsible for your shit. Now, conservatives, they claim that they align with Christian values. That's their whole thing. That's their claim to fame. And, Jesus himself, the man, he emphasized helping poor and vulnerable people. So why the fuck are you defunding essential services? Huh? I can't speak the fuck up. I can't hear you. And I don't think Jesus can either. Because you motherfuckers mumble under your fucking breath. You close doors and you hide behind fucking shit to shit on your own people, the American people, your own fucking countrymen. And you do it based on race. Because you think, and you always have, that we should not ever have access to anything that you have. Jesus preached inclusion, just so you know. Just so you know. This whole policy, it promotes exclusion, greed, and inequality. That's this whole order in a fucking nutshell. And I'll roll that shit up and hang it right around his fucking neck. You are a fucking racist. And you're doing it on purpose. And you're smiling in everybody's face. And Snoop Dogg is up there helping you fucking do it. And you up here proving, Snoop, that we could be bought. It's all right, homie. That's all right, homie. Their long-term goal is this, and then I'm going to wrap it up. The long-term goal is to eliminate public school entirely. Public education entirely. No public education. None of these kids out here can go to school. None of these kids will have an education. It's deceitful because the privatization advocates have only stated their goal is to phase out public education. Yet, this order presents school choice as merely a supplement. Why this is harmful? Eliminating public education would leave millions of children, especially those from marginalized backgrounds, without access to quality schooling. Period. At the end of the day, it's not about choice. It's about segregation and profit. This order does not make America great. It weakens public education. It exacerbates racial and economic inequality. It undermines democracy by reducing the access to quality education. Conservatives, you were manipulated into believing this about freedom, when in reality, it's about dismantling a public good and redistributing taxpayer dollars to private entities. Education is a right, like I said a minute ago. It's not a privilege. And policies like this, it takes us back in time. And it reinforces systems of oppression that hurt all Americans, especially black and brown ones. I think that's going to wrap it up for this week's episode of the Deron Harris Podcast, folks. I want to thank my parents. I want to thank because both my parents are teachers. Okay, just so both my mother was she was my teacher in kindergarten and first grade. That was my mom. My dad was my teacher as I got into high school. And all my brothers and sisters are all educated people. And my father is very proud of that. My father was the first person in our family to go to college. And he graduated and became an educator so that he could spread education to less fortunate black and brown children. And for that, Dad, I'm going to tell you straight up, I love you, man. I really do. I love you with every ounce of strength in my body. I want to thank my wife because despite everything that she's gone through in her life, she went through a time where, she didn't know what she was going to do. And she enrolled in school. And she bust her ass with a little girl, and she went to school. And she graduated, and she got a job in her field, and many years later, she is in a tax bracket now that I guess affords us a pretty decent life. And she worked for that. She earned that. She was not a DEI hire. She earned her place. Dig it? I want to thank my producer, Jesse Yandel, because you're the man, bro. Thanks for this. Thank you for this, and thank you for being on our side, and thank you for understanding, and thank you for being an advocate and fighting with us. Thank you for that. I want to thank Gentry Thomas also for giving me a platform so I can put my voice out on it. You know what I'm saying? And lastly, I want to thank all my listeners. Everybody out there listening to me right now, I want to thank you guys. And the reason I want to thank you is because, without you, I wouldn't have a platform to get this word out. And I'm going to thank you in advance for spreading this around, for spreading it around and making sure that we hold them accountable. Spreading this around and making sure that our children have everything that they need in this world to succeed and nothing less. So with that, I thank y'all. And until next week, hey, keep your head up, man. Things are going to get better. They will, but we got to fight for it. All right? I'm Deron Harris, and this is my podcast. I'll see y'all next week. Peace.
You've been listening to the Deron Harris Podcast. Subscribe to the show, give a good rating, and everything you need to know is at DeronHarris.com.